Sussex's pride will have a fall with Farcical letter to keep their limelight alive after being bumped down. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are feeling left out after other senior royals travel to Glasgow for COP26, a commentator has suggested. And Jonathan Sacerdote believes the Sussex's decision to press world leaders on coronavirus vaccines is motivated by a determination to stay in the limelight. The royal couple wrote to world leaders attending the G20 summit in Rome at the weekend urging them to honor a pledge to send COVID-19 vaccines to low-income countries. Mr. Sacerdote, a regular commentator on Sky News as well as a contributor to The Spectator, said, "I think it was significant in terms of the timing, in the same way that everything Meghan and Harry do is significant in terms of the timing. Which is to say they won't let a single opportunity for attention and publicity pass them by, and I think COP26 is one of those opportunities." He told, the royal family were meant to be there in force. Of course the Queen unfortunately had to cancel her appearance and speech at the opening, but the fact that the royal family dedicated so much effort to the conference shows how important it was not just to them but to the country. And I think that Meghan and Harry would have felt very much left out, and that's probably one of the moments when they would most have missed the side of royal duties that comes with being a working royal. While the couple may have felt liberated after leaving their lives as working royals and relocating to California, Mr. Sacerdote suggested there are elements they miss. He said, presumably being a cause that they want to be seen to be supporting will be one of those opportunities they might miss. So they haven't missed it, they've put their names to this letter. With respect to their appeal to send doses of the jab to low-income countries where just 3% of the population has been vaccinated, Mr. Sacerdote said, I did wonder about that letter. Sorry to be cynical, but I understand why the head of the World Health Organization, WHO, might be writing about vaccines to world leaders. But I couldn't for the life of me figure out in what capacity Meghan and Harry are giving advice about vaccinations to world leaders. An actual spokesperson says that Prince Harry and Meghan will be working with experts to assess the sum total of its emissions, and will develop a plan of action to reach net zero. In a statement on its website, it says that it will be looking at its collective carbon footprint, including internet use, commutes and electricity in home offices. It read, our co-founders, Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, have a long-standing commitment to the planet, both together and prior to their union, with global projects and partnerships dating back over a decade. It added, while we have actively made choices to offset and balance this carbon footprint, now, with the tools provided by partner organizations, we know that we can all do better. We can be net zero, and this is what we pledge to do. We are a young company, but today, Achul joins our co-founders in committing to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2030. When for example Tony Blair offered advice on vaccine strategy, he did so as a former Prime Minister, while Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus spoke in his capacity as the Director General of the WHO, Mr. Sacerdote pointed out. He added, with Meghan and Harry, we're talking about somebody that used to open boxes on Deal or No Deal and to appear in a legal soap opera, and somebody who was born into the British royal family and achieved I don't think very stellar results in his science education as a schoolboy. So I can't understand for the life of me why these two particularly are commenting on these matters. Mr. Sacerdote conceded, I don't think many of us necessarily disagree with the cause they're putting forward. I think the idea of getting as much of the world vaccinated against COVID-19 as possible is, of course, an admirable one. And I think standing up for those in countries where they haven't got a successful vaccination plan as we do here in the UK or in other developed countries is of course a worthy cause and a valuable effort to make. But I don't see how those two people in particular making the case is actually going to do anything other than invite ridicule towards them. I don't think it's going to progress that cause any further than it would have been progressed just by the WHO and other more convincing world leaders who have authority on this matter. They have no authority on this matter. To complicate matters, Mr. Sacerdote also stressed even if they had been invited to attend COP26, it would have been difficult for Meghan and Harry to do so in any case. He said, "The nature of a climate conference is such that people will have to travel to it from around the world, and that will in itself, of course, have a negative carbon effect. So perhaps Meghan and Harry will have thought about that. Did they urgently need to be there as much as some other people if they had planned to try to get there in the first place? And whether or not that would have been part of the calculation, I just don't know. But certainly they've been criticized for their use of private jets quite so much when they've put themselves forwards as eco-warriors and advocates for saving the planet and the environment." In their letter to G20 leaders shared via their Farcical website, signed by the pair of them alongside Dr. Ghebreyesus, Meghan and Harry said, "We understand that the pandemic recovery is nuanced and deeply complex, but we have a window of opportunity to come together as a global community and meet our humanitarian promises.